What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Monday. I don't know what word that was I just said. I think I meant to say Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Motivational Monday. My name is Tabitha Simmons, and I am the host of In My City. And today, you guys know what it is. We have another amazing interview, this time in my city. We managed to slide right on up to Canada. We have an amazing guest that's going to sit down with us and share some of his time, some of his great projects that he's working on, and so much more. He is an actor, a writer, producer, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to In My City, Mr. Tristan Barrocks.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? How's everybody feeling? How you doing, Tabitha?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm out here in these streets just trying to hustle and work and do what I can to stay creative.
Absolutely. Listen, did I say your last name correctly?
Well, as long as you honestly, there's two ways of saying it. You can say barracks, like war barracks, like Barracks, which is
Okay.
probably the correct spelling. But because I'm Jamaican, we like mixing things up. So it's like Barracks, you know what I mean? Like bar and rocks, you put that together, and that's my last name.
Listen, I'm gonna go with the second one. The second one sounds amazing. We're gonna go with that one. I'll,
And I gotta big up my Jamaican roots right now. Get some of that.
that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. So, Canada. Now you have Jamaican roots. I would have never guessed unless you slipped and said something or I heard it somewhere in there. But you haven't been talking to me long enough for me to hear it. So, how the move? Canada, Jamaica. Tell me. Talk to me.
Yeah. Listen. Jamaica. My parents are Jamaican. Okay,
Hmm.
and so they made the move in the '70s with a lot of the other um, West Indian families and that generation, and so I was fortunate enough to be born in Canada, but I kind of feel like I'm a fusion of the sort of Jamaican experience, Jamaican and Canadian experience. And so for me, a lot of what I try to do is I really try to infuse that into my work and into my art, and try and create pieces that kind of speak to that the blackness that comes from the West Indies and comes
Mm,
from my West Indian roots.
mm. So listen, you have surprised me already. I'm so thrown off I can't even get myself together because I was not expecting that. I was expecting the whole the Canadian accent. I was expecting that.
Oh
That's
no, but we can flip back and forth.
hey,
We can be like, hey, how you doing, man? What's up, hey? What's going on? I could do that. I could do the yo, what's up, man? What's up, fam? How you doing? Brooklyn in the house. You can do anything
I,
you want, whatever you got.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So growing up, I don't know if you told me or not, but how long how's it been? You came to Canada how long ago?
So for me, I born and raised in Canada. So
Okay, okay, yes.
yeah, so I'm 30, 39 years old, sorry.
Mm,
And I was born and raised in Canada, but I frequent going to Jamaica. Actually, just probably in the last half of my life, I've gone to Jamaica quite a bit to do work
yeah,
and to really kind of reconnect
yeah,
with my roots, and get a good
absolutely.
sense of who I am. You know, what I mean, I
Mhm.
feel like as an artist, as a person, as a black person, there's been a lot that's been stripped away from us, and
Absolutely.
so going back to what's naturally unfamiliar, but from a geographical um perception is very familiar because that's where your family's from and that's where
Mhm.
your roots are from, is a way to kind of discover self, and that's what I've been doing for the last few years.
Absolutely. So, growing up, did you want to be in the entertainment industry?
Did I want to be in the entertainment industry? That's a great question. I always get that question. Yes, I did. I actually I wasn't a great student. I was actually a not a bad student. Like I loved math. I was pretty good at math. Was
Mhm.
terrible at English. Was
Mhm.
terrible at like writing and spelling and reading and all other stuff.
Yeah.
And I was the third boy out of four siblings. So my youngest sibling is a girl. Is my sister, but there was
Mhm.
two other boys, and I was one of those boys. So I was really trying to figure out who I was, Tabitha, and
Yeah.
and and so for me, a big part of my self discovery was discovering the arts. Oftentimes I say the arts saved my life. It was that
Mm.
one sort of common denominator throughout my life, that common thread that allowed me to build my confidence, build my sort of awareness of self, my ability to understand how I could move audiences and move emotions
Mm,
and manipulate people, but at the same time connect with people as well.
yes.
And so a lot of these skills were transferable, not just on the stage, but in life.
So, growing up in Canada, when we talk about how it is in the United States, was it difficult being African American growing up in Canada?
Yeah, it's different. Like I oftentimes I say to myself, like I respect American racism. I love it,
Mm,
because at
mhm.
least American racism is in your face. If they're gonna call you the N word, they're gonna call it to your face. Hey
In your
boy, don't come
face.
in my job, right?
Fact-
Right? They're gonna do this, right? And so
Facts.
that is very powerful. It's very potent, right? And
Mhm.
but you get it, right? And you can
Yeah.
respect it because you can say, okay, that guy is racist. I'm not going to
Mhm.
deal with him, or I'm going
Mhm.
to deal with him as such moving forward. When it comes to Canada and being black in Canada, this is such a powder keg question because oftentimes Canada gets this sort of characteristic that it's just welcoming. It's not a melting pot like America. It's a
Mhm.
mosaic, and we celebrate the mosaic and yada yada yada, and we love everybody and we hug everybody and we embrace every culture. But the reality is that most of our politicians are white.
Mhm.
Most of the
Mhm.
people in business and in banking and in finance are white. Most of the people that produce, direct, and control media in the sense of the types of projects and the types of stories that are greenlit
Mhm.
are white.
Mhm.
And so this, although we have this perception of Canada being very accepting and being different
Mhm.
from the brother, the cooler, more outspoken brother to the south, we have our own racial issues that we have to deal with. And oftentimes as a black person growing up in Canadian culture, you have to code switch to survive because you
Mhm.
can't just be authentically black. At least growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, as a kid, I grew up in a predominantly white suburban
Mhm.
church, but
Mhm.
then I actually lived in an urban black kind of hood, a whole bunch of apartment buildings, community. And so there was a certain way that I moved in those spaces versus moving at my church. But I also understood very quickly the levers that I had to pull in order to
Mhm.
survive. And so,
Mhm.
you know, is it people saying the N word in your face? No, but it's people saying, you know what? I like that black boy, but I don't like him for my daughter. And I'll never say it to his face. I'll
Yeah.
smile at him. I'll maybe even sing hymns right beside him. But the moment he shows interest in my daughter, or maybe he shows interest in leadership positions, or maybe he's trying to get a loan at the bank, I'm not going to give it to him. He's black,
It's a no-go.
right?
Wow. I don't know whether we have it better because it's in our face or if you guys have it better because it's but you know what? I think in my opinion, I prefer it listen, keep that behind in the back because if you bring in if I see it or if I hear it, ass is gonna get whipped. Is this I'm gonna
Bring
tell
me
you right
your
now.
ass. you know,
Ass is
that
about to
ass.
get whipped. The facts.
Because
So
here's the thing.
yeah.
Here's the reality is that, again, there's pros and cons to both, right? Because
Yeah.
but here's the problem is that what I see in America is I see a lot of vocal activism and progress in
Mhm.
terms of keeping and holding people accountable for what they
Mhm.
say, what they do, and how they treat
Mhm.
people that are not like them,
Mhm.
and if they're being racist, and that's a good thing. But the challenge at times when you're always trying to monitor the racial stabilities and ins and outs of relationships publicly is that can become physically, emotionally, and mentally exhausting, right? Now, on the
Yes.
flip side, being in Canada, you don't have that exhaustion because you have that little bit of like, hey, we'll all work together.
Mm.
We're playing in the same sandbox. Oh, I see you. Hey, listen, I love butter chicken. I love jerk chicken. We're gonna be friends, right? That's
Yeah.
that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
But when we just go maybe half an inch to an inch underneath the surface, there's a
Mhm.
lot of issues, like real issues that are just not spoken. So it's very similar to like those families that look like, Cosby Show families or sitcom
Mhm.
families,
Mhm.
and they always do things together, and they have Christmas dinner and holiday Thanksgiving and all that other stuff. But underneath the surface, they really have issues that they've never dealt with for years. That's Canada
Mhm.
in a
Mhm.
nutshell.
Mm. So, did this make it hard for you to get into the entertainment industry?
Well, it didn't make it hard for me to get into the industry, because here's the thing: they'll always allow us to be on in front of the camera, right?
Mhm.
They'll always allow us to kind of chuck and jive and to present ourselves in an entertaining fashion.
Mhm.
So that was never a problem. But once I understood the narrative that was being pushed, and here's the thing: I grew up being an actor, being a classically trained theater actor.
Wow.
I want to be. I When Denzel won for Training Day, I was like, I'm the next Denzel. I'm gonna win the next one. I'm gonna be the Black Canadian Denzel, right?
Hey.
Obviously that balloon got popped very quickly. Okay, all right. But if you squint really hard and kind of turn your head like this, kind of looks like Denzel a little
And you kind of sort of in the ears. I mean, you in the ears. You do. I'm rocking with it.
bit.
I'm
I can do a
feeling
little bit
it.
of accent, like,
You-
look at me, come on. No, I can't do the accent. But but the point I was trying to make was, the moment that you realize sort of about the entertainment industry,
Mhm.
when you're in front of the camera, you think, hey, I'm going to be a big star, I'm going to have a whole bunch of people liking me, I'm going to be famous. But that's not really where the money's at. That's
Mm.
not really where the narrative is created. That's actually the end of the pipeline. When you're handed a script, you're handed a finished product that you have to perform.
Mhm.
You're not handed or asked to create an idea. And so I went on this journey around 2004, 2005, where I left acting behind. I said, I no longer want to be the drug dealer. I no longer want to be thug number three. I no longer want to be the
Mhm.
pimp, or the guy in jail. Right. And so I had to now figure out, okay, what is my next move? And that's when I kind of pivoted to understanding the production process. And I went back to school, learned how to edit, learned how to shoot, and I started to
Mm.
do a lot of post-production work.
Yeah.
And that was my journey of discovering my directing chops and my desire for story. I was always a storyteller. Even as a kid. Tristan, did you eat that cookie? No, I didn't, mommy. I saw a pigeon and it flew inside the window and it ate the cookie. Right? I was always making stories, but I didn't know how to execute the story from beginning to end. And when I went to school and got some experience, I was able to kind of open up and unlock that part of myself.
So the acting came first, and then came the writing and producing. Then.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just gonna ask. Okay, so of course, I'd imagine you prefer. Was the acting a way to get your foot in the door for what you really wanted to do, or it just happened that way?
No, it just happened that way. I love that. I love that question, Tabitha, because
Mm,
for me, I loved acting. Like I
mm,
loved acting. I could sit down still to this day. Favorite movie, Shawshank Redemption. Second favorite
ah,
movie, Remember the Titans. Third favorite movie, Philadelphia, with a mixture of Malcolm X. You know what I mean?
mm.
Like those are movies that I watch, and I'm like, if I can have a script like that to act in, I would
Mm,
love it, right? And
mm,
so acting and being on stage and doing plays and doing theater work was really my first love. But again, that's the end of the pipeline. And so as a black performer, as a black creative, we always get to a point, right, where are we going to be satisfied with people handing us scripts,
mhm,
handing us things to do, or are we going to dig deeper and create our own narrative and shape our own narratives? Do we trust other groups and other races and other people to tell our stories, or can we tell our stories? And so for me, I grew up with a father who was the ultimate example. He worked two jobs while he had four kids, and he was an immigrant, first generation immigrant in Canada, and raised us. Taught himself so many things. Was in middle management. Was one of the only black middle managers in all
mm,
of sort of his sector of being an electrician and working in the public electrical field. Left that job, and started becoming a full-time photographer and started a
Mm,
full-time photography business. And so he always taught us, you got to create your own opportunities. You can't wait for somebody to give you an
mm.
opportunity, because the moment you wait for somebody to give you an opportunity is the moment you're saying, basically, you're giving your life and your destiny and your purpose into somebody else's hands.
That is true. Sheesh. Uh, you started, you're the founder of what's known as the Digital Storytellers. Can
Yeah.
you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the digital storytellers, first of all, the art of digital storytelling is very, very simple. It is the execution or the practice of focusing on human-centered stories, right? When we make movies, when we make television shows, when we make commercials, we're not making them for trees, we're not making them for dogs, we're not making
Mhm.
them for inanimate objects, we're
Mhm.
making them for people.
Yes.
And so when we're telling stories, it doesn't matter how sexy you shoot the music video, or how amazing you light the talent. If there's no story there, if there's no heart to the story, if there's no story that's relatable to the viewer, they're going to click the channel, they're going to change the channel, they're going to watch something else. So our focus at the digital storytellers is the discipline of telling human centered stories. And
Mm,
so everything that we do is centered around story first, and it's centered around people first. And so telling people's stories in a humanistic, authentic, real, grounded way is what we do, and we love doing it. We do it every day. It could be selling cereal one day, the next day it could be a TV show, but in
mhm.
between that, we're always telling stories.
Absolutely. Now you have now, is this a program like directed towards the youth or just in general?
Yeah, so I love that. So the organization is the digital storytellers, and then we
Mhm.
have what we call the Digital Storytellers Academy, and
Mm,
that's where we are giving back. And so we have this principle, right? What was freely given to us, we need to freely give.
mm,
Oftentimes people say, well, I don't want to give away my secret sauce, I don't want to give my time to this person, or I want to X, Y, and Z. But the knowledge you have is not your own knowledge. It's not just for you, it's for the people coming behind you. And I think
mhm,
specifically within the Black community, whether it's Black Canadians, Black Americans, there is a giant opportunity for us to create a culture. And when I
mm,
say us, I'm speaking to those that have had a moniker of success.
mhm.
I'm one of the only Black commercially repped photographer or directors within Canada. There's probably 7 to 10
Wow.
of us in all of Canada. I'm one of those 7 to 10 directors. Okay, I'm one of the only film and television directors in Canada. There are probably a handful
Wow.
of us, maybe 30 of us, 40 of us in that are actually doing it at a level where our work is getting published, and we're in theaters, and we're working
Yeah.
on TV shows and things of that nature. So I'm very fortunate to be able to have this platform. And so when I speak
Mm,
about us, I speak about people that have a certain level of platform.
mhm,
We don't have the luxury of not even just holding the door open, but inviting people in through the door. Now, I'm not saying everybody's ready for that door, but I'm saying there are always people that are are at the place where
mhm.
all they need is an opportunity, and we
Absolutely.
are the opportunity generators. And so we need to look for opportunities to be able to put other people on. And if we're not doing that, then we're doing a disservice to our community.
Listen, I don't I felt like I went to church for a second. I
Well,
Come on,
E flat,
Pastor.
please. E flat.
Now
You got one
you
of those church voices already. Those velvety. I know you were like an altar. Ah! You did one of those
and
like
listen, and I was and in church and you called it and did. I really was. I really
you had
was.
one of those. Ah.
We can
Well, Lord. Don't get me
don't you
started now. I could just go ah. Ugh. You already know where I'm going with that.
listen, you can't do it unless you got the rag to wipe the sweat from your forehead. Now you
Don't
got
worry.
that's past the certified right
I'll take
there.
this little. I'll take this little receipt.
Now I hear you say we a lot. You work with your other half, your wife, yes?
Yes, yes,
That is
yes.
amazing. How was that for you?
It's crazy because you know, I want to say that it's perfect. It's not perfect. right?
Mm.
That's the first thing I want to get the elephant out of the room. People always say, "Oh man, it must be so amazing. You guys must be all balanced, and it must be so good. And Jesus is so just heavenly, and you guys can just have sex and just oh Lord." No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Very few times do I do we just randomly kiss each other and say, "I'm so glad we work together." Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
here's what I will say: there is a power in the agreement of spouses coming together and working on a vision together.
Mm.
And I think
Mm.
that the importance of having my wife in our business is immeasurable in terms of value. I think that
Mm.
the first 7 years of the business, in terms of me doing it full time.
Mm.
Before I even get to that, I got to tell you this story because I think it'll encourage somebody in your audience.
Absolutely. Let's
In
go.
2015, I had my what I thought was my dream job. It was a government job. I was working doing video production, making about 60 grand a year, pension benefits, the whole nine
Mm.
yards. I was on a contract, but I was doing really, really well, 1 year contract. And I thought, you know what, they're definitely gonna keep me. My wife was on a sabbatical because she had our second child, or in Canada you get a year off, up to a year off you can take, if you have a child. So either the husband can take a year off and the wife can go back to work, or the wife or the mother can stay a full year. So she decided to stay a full year
Wow.
off, and I was working. We were making good money. It's still good, and you still get, like, even though you're off, you still get what they call, like, not baby bonus, but like you get paid a certain amount, like
Yeah.
depending on where you work, they'll give you a
Hmm.
certain percentage of your pay. It's a lot different in
Yeah.
Canada, a lot more
Oh,
generous
yeah.
than it is in the States, I know,
Oh, yeah.
because I have family down there. But we were in a really good position, and we were able to close on a home. I still remember it, the fall of October 2015. Close on our home, first home. We were about an hour and 20 minutes outside of Toronto because we decided to move outside of Toronto. It was a lot more affordable, all of that, right? um, a month after we settle into the house, and we had a new car note. You know how that is, right? You're trying to figure out everything.
Yeah.
My wife says to her employer she's not going to go back. She's going to take care of the kids, stay with the kids, and then she'll maybe find work later on,
Hmm.
because we had my job. And about a week later, I was informed that I only had 30 days left in the job, that they replaced me with somebody else outside of the company, even though I was fulfilling my role at a high level. And so we were going to be both unemployed in
Mm.
30 days. We had two young kids under 5 years old. We had two car notes. One was a brand new car note, and we had a new house. And so we were sitting in the couch on our couch in our bare living room, because we didn't even have enough money for to furnish the full living room. And I remember my wife looked at me and said, "Tristan, if not now, then when?" And I
Mm.
knew exactly what she meant by that, because prior to that, I had dreamed and wrestled and complained and murmured and over communicated to her how much I wanted to start my own business, how much I wanted to go full time in my business, because at that time it was really a side hustle. And so when she
Mm.
said, "If not now, then when?" I knew exactly what she meant. I knew, let's
Hmm.
hustle, let's do this. And so I went full time into it, and I never looked back. And I remember the very first opportunity I had to do a shoot with a fairly well known photographer. I parked in a parking spot, and I had a wonderful shoot. Came back down to $175 parking ticket.
Ugh.
Toronto, love it. And that was the beginning of the journey of where we are today. And so
Mm.
7 years of me working full time in the business, my wife working full time in her job, holding us down, taking care of some of the home stuff. Because again, at the time when you're starting out a business going full time, it's great because you're available for anything, but you don't always get those jobs, right? And
That's
so
right.
there was a lot of like transferring of wealth and getting to a place where we're growing the business to a certain level. And
Hmm.
so there was a point where during the pandemic, Netanya was really wrestling with her own self-esteem, her own mental wellness. We
Mm.
lost a child.
Oh.
She had a miscarriage. She went into a deep depression. She had not been able to stop working throughout the pandemic because that's just the nature of her job. And so
Yeah.
she really had a change of heart of where she wanted to go in her life and what was sort of valuable to her. And that's when she said, I think it's time for me uh, to come into the business. I was in my feelings because I was like, "Girl, I've been telling you for the last 7 years you can be in this business." And we had our little moment. Okay,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
who know, say, let
yeah.
the church say
Listen,
yes. Okay,
amen. Come on, Pastor, with it.
right?
Come on.
But let's just be real, right? Like sometimes the the thing about marriage is you have to catch each other's
Mm,
cadence, and you also
mm-hmm,
have to have the grace to give people the space to catch the thought themselves and catch the vision themselves. You can't
mm-hmm,
force feed a vision to people. You got
mm-hmm,
to allow them to catch it themselves. And so when she caught it, um, I had my moment, and then I was like, you know what? She's here. So
yeah,
either we make it work because she's here, or I push her further away. And so we made it
yeah,
work. It was challenging to understand each other's like learnings and
yeah.
communication. And even today, we had a little bit of a bumping of heads, but that's the nature of working with your spouse. You love the
Absolutely.
flexibility, you love the availability, but at the same time, you still have to understand, okay, is this my husband right now, or is this my business partner? Is this my sexy boo, or is
Hmm.
this my business partner? I can still date my wife because I have the flexibility to do that, but then we still
Yes,
got to get work done. And so that's the
absolutely.
that's the ultimate sort of balancing act, or act of tension.
Mm. Wonderful. I'm experiencing the exact same thing with my other half, where it's me and him within my city. I started in my city originally on our radio station that he created for me, and it's challenging because I'm like, I started this so I could have my space. What do you want in here now? What is it? Why are you always here? I'm trying to, but it's a powerful thing
Yeah,
if you have your other half and you two are in business together and it works. As with all things, you're two separate human beings. You're going to go
yeah,
through things, you're going to disagree. He's going to have an opinion, you're going to have an opinion, and things are going to, not always work out, but they do work out, because
mhm.
at the end of the day, when you separate it, you still have that other person. That's like my baby. That's my boo thing. That's
Yeah,
my boo. you know
that's it. That's my boo
that's
boo.
my boo.
That's my
He be
boo
trying to figure out how he can call HR on me. I am HR. He be saying I be sexually harassing him.
boo.
It's listen, are we at work right now? And he's like, why are you staring at me? We just went through. Why are you staring at me like I'm a piece of meat? I'm sorry. Is that wrong of me? I'm very sorry to make you uncomfortable at work. You
No, that's the same thing. I'm like, and the worst. Here's the worst thing for me is that my wife, her background's in HR, so I
yeah.
I got nothing. She knows all the loopholes. Oh, did I touch your butt, or did I just adjust your pants? You know what I
Because
mean?
look,
Like,
let's look at that. Let's look at what actually happened here.
let's unpack it. Let's unpack what happened. No, no. I think that I had always seen throughout my time in business
Mm,
so much success with husbands and wives and
mm,
spouses and partners
mm,
partnering together in business.
mhm,
And I think that I always knew that I feel like that was always going to be better for us, but it takes time. And I think people, the one thing that I've learned, being the person that with the vision, right,
mhm.
is that the vision was given to you. It wasn't necessarily given to anybody else. And
That's right.
so you have to give people grace to see
Mhm,
the vision, and your responsibility is to build that thing, right? So that
mm.
it's so real, and when you communicate it, it's so real to people and people's minds that it's like it comes alive in them, just like it's alive in
Absolutely.
you. It's it
Ooh,
it, it reminds me of like I don't know if it's Michelangelo. Michelangelo is one of my favorite artists, right? But
yes.
he used to always say that, with the David and all the sculptures he used to. He said, I'm not sculpting the rock. I'm just revealing the sculpture, right?
Ooh.
He had this saying and this thought about it. The sculpture's already in there. The David's already in there.
Mm,
All I'm doing is just chipping it away so that you can see it, because I already
absolutely.
see it. And so when we start looking at our better halves or our other halves the same way, and they start looking at us the same way, and we start putting that energy into our business and into each other,
Mhm,
I mean, it's magic. It's magic.
mm. Listen, my other half will tell you I fight him every step of the way, because if it's not Listen, what I see and what he sees is I'm like, he's always trying to get me to see things, and I'm a visual visual person. So you have to show me if this is my vision within my city. Let me
Mhm.
show you what I'm trying to accomplish. It
Yep.
doesn't take him long at all to say, hey, you know what? So now he's the visionary on my project. He's the visionary. But I'm so thankful that, he's around to, kind of keep things the way they need to be business wise, because I have never had the pleasure of seeing those kinds of things behind the scenes where you have not just spouses that are in business together, but
Mhm.
African American spouses that are in business
Yeah.
together. I
Yep.
didn't have the luxury of knowing that and understanding that and seeing that to say, when I grow up, I want it to be me and my spouse. I never saw anything like that.
Mhm.
Um, but it wasn't until, after I grew up and, you learn that these things, it's okay, because while it is your blueprint, there are other people that can come in and add things to your blueprint to make it even better than it was before.
And here's the thing, right? Like
Yeah.
I oftentimes I use this analogy
Hmm.
to tell to encourage people to share their stories. Okay,
Yes.
so a story is a vehicle. Okay, the vehicle, stories are vehicles that we use to communicate our perspectives. Our perspectives are our gifts to the world. Our perspectives are our
Mm.
gifts to the world. Not all of our chuck and jive and all that. Our perspective,
Hmm.
the way that we create films, the way that you run a podcast or a radio show, the way that we build a product, we build a t-shirt, the way that we make music, the way that we make money, that's our perspective. And
Hmm.
so when we activate our perspective through story or through our gifts or through other ways, we are actually giving people a better or a larger perspective on life itself, right?
Mm.
And so here's the thing. When I look at, let's say we're both in downtown Manhattan, and I'm
Hmm.
looking at the World Trade Center buildings, right? The new ones that are up. And you're five feet away from me, Tabitha, right? 5 feet to
Hmm.
my left or my right. Well,
Hmm.
your perspective is slightly different than my perspective. And I don't have a holistic perspective of the scale and the scope of this building until I can go and see it in your perspective, and then maybe go to another perspective and see it somewhere else. And so what you're saying is so correct. It's like when we have the openness, and when we have the agility to be able to allow other people to share their perspectives, we
Hmm.
actually gain a greater perspective on ourself, on our projects, on our work, on anything that we're trying to build. Now sometimes people are just talking a whole bunch of trash, and that's okay too. But oftentimes real people, real knows real, and they will
Yes.
contribute to us in a way that's
Facts.
immeasurable, because we can't
Hmm.
see everything. We see
That's
things
right.
oftentimes in tunnel vision.
That's right. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to something that we're working on or something that we're creating or something
Yep.
that, we're bringing forth. So, yeah, it can often be that way. So, I agree with you. Um, Wonderful. Uh, Tell me about the Black Canadian experience. It seems like it's a whole thing. Tell
Yeah.
me about what is that all about?
Well, so we're really different. We're really different. We're different in a lot of ways, because here's the thing: when you go to America, if you're Nigerian, Jamaican, you're black from other black countries, and you
Mm-hmm.
come into America, there's an expectation that you will become American, meaning you will like hot dogs, and you'll go to big cities, and you'll understand the swag, and you know what I'm saying? We out here in these streets, you know what I mean? We hustling, we grinding, you know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up, Brooklyn? Stand up. You know what I mean? Like all of that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so and so there's a certain black cadence to the
Yes.
culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Canada, we're allowed to remain Nigerian. We're
Mm.
allowed to remain Jamaican. We're allowed to remain, Congolese, right?
Mhm.
So when people see the black community, they may
Mm.
see the same shades of black people,
Mhm.
but there's so many different layers to Black Canadians, right? And I hear people saying, well, it's the same thing in America, but it's really different. It's really not,
Mm.
because for us, we have Black loyalists, meaning we have Black people that were runaway slaves that came from America. We
Yeah.
have the Maroons that were Jamaican immigrants. We had people that were always freed Blacks that were never enslaved that lived in
Mm.
Canada. Then we have immigrants, and again, those Blacks that were there before. A lot of them, especially in Nova Scotia and in Southern Ontario, those Blacks were here before Confederation, meaning before we were even a nation state, before
Mm.
we were even Canada, there was even Confederation, right? Before we
Mhm.
can celebrate a country of Canada, there were Black people living with other Black people and Native people doing their thing, right? So we've
Mhm.
been here. We didn't just get here. That's number one. But then number
Mhm.
two, when it comes to recently, there's this sort of renaissance of Black Canadians being okay with being Black and being Black out loud and being unapologetically Black.
Mhm.
Not Black that's tolerable, not Canadian Black, not you're Black but different Black.
Yeah.
But being Black and being authentically okay with using our Jamaican slang or using our yo man's them, what's up, what's guanin, yo, the things are guanin, the jubies are nice, yo, how come they're so crisp? See, somebody from Toronto would know exactly what I just said, right? And it's
Mhm.
so we have our own language and our own cadence as well, and we're really becoming more comfortable with saying we don't have to be somebody else and have somebody else's voice in order to be able to be authentically Canadian. Actually, to be authentically Canadian is to be authentically Black, because Black people have been here before Canada even was really existing.
Ooh, that's your history, y'all. So let me get this straight. So there, it's okay to just be Black
Mhm.
in whatever fashion that comes in. Just not having to overdo it to exert your uh Blackism. Is that a word? It is today.
Yeah, absolutely. Blackism. I think, but I think it's different, and the reason why it's different is you have to understand, like when you're dealing with, and this is a Black Canadian perspective of
Mhm.
Black America, right?
Mhm.
When I look at Black America, I look at a lot of a group of people and I'm talking about like Blacks that like were like there from slavery. They have like generational like lineages and roots. I see a lot of like a group of people that really have a great sense of like American Black culture and American culture. Um,
Mhm.
but there's also this sort of there's this camaraderie with it, but there's also
Mhm.
this sense of like anger of like, but we still are owed a lot of things, and I get that,
Yeah.
right? and
Mhm.
and and so for us in Canada, we don't necessarily have that, because there's been different waves of Black Canadians coming through. So you have, again, before Canada existed as an actual country, the Blacks that were there, and they had settled and they have generations. They're very similar to Black Americans, especially in the southern states, right?
Mhm.
They even have some of the same foods. But then you also have Black Canadians that are coming from the West Indies and from West Africa, and their experiences are different. And it's not to say that we didn't have to tame down ourselves. Our parents had to do that, so
Yes.
that we now, as the first generation of being Black Canadians, meaning born
Mm.
in the country, don't have to tame it down. We can
Mhm.
be who we want to be, right?
Facts.
But that still is sometimes off-putting for people, because although people say, "Hey, we're welcoming," there's still a level of but all of your board of directors are white. But you're only reaching out to me as a commercial director 2 weeks before Black History Month.
Mm.
You're only reaching out to me
Mm.
because this is a Black led campaign.
Yeah.
You're only reaching out to me because, well, you have no other Black speakers, right?
Yeah.
So there's still that ceiling that we're still trying to break through on.
Mhm. Now, personally, I want to know, y'all have soul food up there?
Yeah, it's called West Indian food. Hey, grips on your way, front way, back way. Sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
I
Wait a
just
minute now. Hold on. Hold on now. Hold on, let me put my flip flops on. Hold on now. Put my
She
flip
says
flops
she
back
let me
on.
get my flip flops on. Let me get mama needs to get ready now. Come on now. Somewhere there's music. Sorry, I grew up on because I grew up on 80s and 90s R&B and hip hop
Hey,
and
you better
and
say it.
and like Fresh Prince and Cosby
Yeah.
Show and all that stuff. So all of my black culture for the most part for most of my life
Yeah.
was all American culture. So
Yeah, you
you
sound
can
like you
throw
got
pretty much
enough.
anything out at me, Facts of Life or
Yeah.
whatever, like Sanford and Son, and I know those references, right?
Yeah. That's what's
Moving on
up.
up. Sorry.
Listen, I ain't trying to test your blackness. I know you, but I believe you got it in you. I'm not trying to throw out no quizzes, but you know it. Listen, Sanford and Son. I knew that. That's all I had to know when you said Sanford and Son just now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
all I knew.
yeah.
Can you cook?
Yes, yes. So first of all, I'll say this about soul food. So soul food again, we don't have soul food like Southern soul food. Y'all have that on lock,
Mm,
but
mm,
we got our oxtail, we got our curry goat, we got our rice and peas, our
mm,
chicken, we got
mm.
stuff from Trinidad, from Tobago, from
Nice.
Grenada, from
Yeah.
Barbados, from Niger. We got
Ooh.
our we got our jollof and our fufu, and we got our what else is that our pepper soup and our beef
Yeah.
stew. Come on now, we got our curry goat and our rice and peas. I know you guys got black eyed peas. Same
Uh
thing,
huh.
pretty much the same thing. You guys got collard greens. We got callaloo. It's all the same. It's all the same, girl. We
Wow.
got you. Listen.
Okay.
You guys got sweet potato. Listen, we got Jamaican sweet potato. Okay, so listen, we got all the things too. Don't worry.
And you do. See, we gotta go. We gotta find specialty spots to get half of the stuff that you just named.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
that's one thing. That's one thing I will say is that if you ever get a chance to come to Toronto, I'll definitely
Mm,
set up a time we could take you around and stuff. But like when you come to Toronto, there's a kind of a saying that goes like, when you come to Toronto, you're kind of coming to the world because we have
yeah.
over 300 countries represented in Toronto, I believe. At
Wow.
least don't take me as factual. You should
Yeah.
probably double check that. But we have like hundreds of countries represented in Toronto. So if I want Thai food, if I want Vietnamese, if I want, jerk chicken, if I want soul food, if I want, Indian food, I want Italian, Portuguese, we got everything.
Mm.
We have everything and it's world class. I mean, people talk about New York, but Toronto is
Sheesh.
not slouching at all.
Sheesh. Listen, if I come there, I have to have the best burgers and fries.
Oh,
That's my thing.
burgers and fries is easy. That's easy. We got a place called Burger Priest. Come on now. Come on now.
Burger Priest.
Burger Priest. And here's the thing.
Say,
They have the normal menu, then they have like the parishioners special or something like that, where you have to go
yeah.
online and it's secret burgers. Come on now. Come on
That's
now.
that high blood pressure burger right there.
with burger on top of burger.
Oh, let me get a side of high blood pressure and a little bit of diabetes with
And
that.
diabetes, please. And make sure it's high and thick. Thank you, Jesus.
Hey,
If I can't pray to Jesus after I eat your food, it ain't good.
it ain't worth it. I don't want
Mhm. That grease should
it.
be multi-purpose. I should be able to anoint myself after.
And
Okay.
facts, I should be able to exercise any demon on somebody just from the bag itself. The bag should be greasy.
But
Listen,
I know you had a question quickly about
yeah,
cooking. I do cook. I
yeah,
cook. I
that's
actually
what's
love
up.
cooking.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, what are you working on these days?
I'm working on a lot of different things. Thank you for asking me that.
Yeah.
So the two main projects I really want to kind of shout out.
Hmm.
Number one is Wallflower. Wallflower is a project that
Mm,
was written and created by a amazing creative name by the name of Safia Bartholomew and her
mm,
partner Kern Carter, who's a writing partner, and they have a business together. And they brought me onto their project. It's called Wallflower, and it's about a recluse, shy black teenager who gets gifted something from her grandmother, her West Indian Jamaican grandmother. Big up to every Jamaican. Bah, 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 bah. Anyways,
hey.
and she gets gifted this gift, and something happens. Something special happens to her when she gets this gift, and it
Mm,
starts. Her life starts unraveling in the most beautiful, iconic, and interesting ways. And so
wow.
this is a 4-part web series season one is, and we are almost completed it, and it's going to be released in the spring. We're
Mm,
hoping to have a tour of it in different film festivals, both in Canada and in the United States, looking at some different
yes.
film festivals, both in Atlanta and in Florida and in Texas, and so we're really excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, I'm looking
and then
forward to it. That
there's one other
sounds
project.
amazing.
There's one
What
other
you
project I
got?
want to let you know about. It's
Yeah.
something I'm writing right now, and we're working on it. It's called Diaries of an Average Black Dad, and that takes place within Toronto. It follows a comedic journey. It follows a 40-something-year-old whose life gets thrown upside down after the death of his father, the sudden death of his father, and so
Mm,
he's navigating sort of his purpose and understanding his fatherhood journey. He's married to a beautiful wife who's sophisticated and sassy, and he has three young kids and trying to be a great dad to them, and he's trying to figure out how to live an extraordinary life after the death of his father. So we follow him on this comedic journey as he tries to
mm.
do that with some unassuming childhood friends who have no ambition at all. So I'm excited about getting that in front of people as well. We're working on finishing up the scripts and having something ready by the end of this year.
Nice. I am looking forward to both of your projects. I'm really, really, I'm excited about it. I'm excited for you with what you have going on. Um, I want you to tell everybody how they can find you on
Yeah.
your social media, websites, all that good stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am found at every pretty much every platform under Tristan Barrocks. So at Tristan Barrocks. So that's TRISTAN BARROCKS. If you don't remember my last name, you remember my first name is Tristan, like Tristan in America or
Hmm.
Tristan the company or Tristan and Isolo. But if you don't remember my last name, just put bar and rocks together, Barrocks, and you got my last name. You can literally Google me. You'll see all of my new projects
Hmm.
happening. You'll see my work, my website, both the digital storytellers and tristanbarracks.com, which is my director's website. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to chat with all the people. I'm excited to build some new relationships and connections in the industry.
I love it. I love it. Now, Tristan, before I let you go, I have to ask you the famous question I ask all of everybody that comes on to In My City. Now, if you could look a younger Tristan in the mirror right now, today, what
Mhm.
would you say to him?
Love it. I love that question. I would say, hey Tristan, start today. Start today, and a
Mm,
year from now, you'll thank me later. And
mm.
and I think I would say start today, lean into your passions, and be unapologetic about going after what you really, really love. That's it.
Mm. That is amazing. Well,
Oh,
Tristan,
and buy
listen.
some
Oh,
Apple
go ahead.
stock.
You said buy what now? What is
And
it?
buy some
Apple
Apple stock.
ASAP. That's what's up. Tristan, listen, this has been a refreshing and entertaining interview. You are so full of talent, so full of life, so full of intellect. You are amazing. And I'm pretty sure you're even more amazing at what it is that you do. I wish you the best of luck. And I will be looking forward to seeing your projects and hearing more from you now that I'm following you on social media. I can pay attention to everything you got going on because this is amazing. I definitely would love to be a part of your journey and what you and your wife, your amazing wife, have going on. Tell her I said hello. But I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day and your schedule to sit down and have a talk within my city. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and God bless to everybody that was listening. And hit me up if you have any questions. Peace.
Absolutely. See ya. Everybody, that was Mr. Tristan Barrocks. Barrocks. I keep avoiding saying the last name because I can't say it right. But listen, he deserves his flowers while he is here. He is a phenomenal writer, producer, actor, all that good stuff. You can see it in his energy. You can see it in the aura. You can see it in his eyes. He is passionate about what he does. Please make sure you go and follow him on all of his social media platforms. You won't be sorry. He's got some great things coming up. And I for one, and along with In My City, the rest of us, we are absolutely looking forward to seeing more of Mr. Barrocks. I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna get it right before it's all over and said and done with. Again, thank you so much for rocking with In My City on tonight. Take care and have a good one.